The hell are you supposed to be?
I'm vengeance.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Buggy Reviews. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson. Now, to set up the stage, I was very curious about this. Originally, this movie was supposed to be a Ben Affleck Batman versus Deathstroke taking place in Arkham Asylum, and Matt Reeves, the guy who made this movie, was on that, but due to a lot of things happening, like personal reasons with Ben Affleck's life and such, he had to pull out of the project, and Matt Reeves decided he'll just do his own thing. And so we've got this new unconnected movie from that universe going on here. Now, I understood people had some issues when they casted Robert Pattinson. Now, I decided to give them the benefit of the doubt. I had first doubted Ben Affleck until I started seeing trailers, and then it was like, oh, he actually looks the part. He did a good job, and I think he did an amazing job. And since I decided to not look at Robert Pattinson, who did Twilight, but instead judging him on the other films I've seen him do, you know, like Tenet or Good Times, you know, all these other movies that he's done, it's like, you know what? I'd say he did a pretty damn good job. And considering that this was going to be like an early years Bruce Wayne, I thought he fit the part. Now, to say the least, this movie is kind of, it kind of takes things a bit down to the basics, more or less. Like, it's got a gritty-esque, like, dark, kind of grounded-ish, like, semi-grounded, I think. It's not quite like Nolan, where he had to do, like, he went, like, for hyper-real, you know. There are, like, with this one, it's brought down just enough, but there are, like, some little bits where, like, it's a little more comic booky and a little more, like, maybe, like, it's what we could see out of it. Now, I hope maybe they, in the future stuff they make out of this particular Batman, they continue further on with the more comic booky fantasy world-esque stuff, because then that helps out with, like, certain characters that they could introduce down the line. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. We're kind of bringing it back down, as we said. Now, this is a detective story, a bit of a slow cook. A slow cook. Like, we investigate the leads, we try to think of what's going on, what's the motivation, what's the motive, why is Riddler doing what is he doing, like, what's the connection between all the victims, what's the end game to it all, you know. And it's just, and I'd say for the most part, the movie does a good job at having this back and forth between Riddler and Batman, you know, where Riddler is this very calculating, cunning, 3 steps ahead type person, and since we're at the beginning of Bruce's career, he's pretty close up to him, but not quite up to, like, the full prime Batman. This is not a Batman in his prime. This is a Batman that's just kind of starting, you know. And as it goes on, he starts to learn things. He starts coming into his own. He starts fine-tuning pieces, you know, like we, you know, at the end of it, he learns what he needs to learn to, like, okay, I understand what needs to, what I need to change about it myself a little bit. It's like, yes, I know what I can do. It's not just being a scary motherfucker against criminals. I need to be a symbol of hope for the people, you know, because the criminals, they need to fear me, but the citizens, they need that hope to know that somebody is going to be there in the corner. You know, that's the duality of it, the both sides there. You know, and I think the movie does a good job at encompassing that. It does a good job of showcasing, like, Batman's influence, even in this earlier, where they have this scene where there are various crimes going on, but when they see the bat signal, they get a little jumpy, because it's like they're looking at every shadow and every dark corner. They're like, oh god, he might be there. We gotta get the fuck out. Ah, you know, and he's not actually there. You know, it teases you. It's like, it almost like a horror movie monster is like waiting in the corner. It's like, oh, I liked touches like that. As for characters, Robert Pattinson as a early years, like, Bruce Wayne, I think he does an exceptional job. He does a real good job as Batman. I like his voice where he just, like, lowers it down a bit. You know, he's not like Bale where he had to, like, go like, I'm not wearing hockey pads. You know, it's just like, you know, Robert Pattinson, like, just lowers it down where it's just like, you know, like I'm vengeance. You know, he just lowers it just enough where it doesn't, like, fuck with his throat a bit, you know? Because doing those kind of voices like Bale did, like in Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, like, oh, that'll hurt you. That'll hurt your throat real bad there. Now, I would say the one critique of Robert Pattinson I have is they didn't quite work on his Bruce Wayne personality. I'm talking about, like, the one he has when he's interacting with other people, like, in public. You know, the Bruce Wayne playboy billionaire thing. Now, that can be excused because this is year 2 of Bruce Wayne's career as the Batman. So, obviously, we haven't quite set that up yet. So, maybe they could set that up down the line. But they didn't quite. There's not much to differentiate Batman and Bruce, at least from what we've been given. But, you know, there's a reasonable explanation to it. I would say it just depends on your preference there for stuff like this. I did not care for Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. I just didn't. I found her to be robotic to me. Like, she just does not strike. Like, she tries to do all these, like, you know, to bring up the sexual chemistry and the eroticism. It's just like, oh, it's like she does the movements. You know, she might wear the suit or a version of the suit. She might wear similar clothing as, like, Selena's Year 1 counterpart did. But she does not put up a believable Selena Kyle to me. Like, she tries all the tricks. You know, it's like, so she seems, so either her or Matt Reeves has a good general idea of what Selena Kyle is, but Zoe Kravitz does not do it. So I could have given less of a fuck about her at all. You know, they even have this, like, scene where they try to be like, where Batman has followed Selena Kyle home because he's thinking that she's got some information, and he's watching her, and she's, like, getting changed into her suit. They play this music. It's like, oh, how taboo, how risque, and I'm just like, this ain't. I'm not getting anything out of this. This is nothing. She's not even that hot. She's like a thin fucking paperclip, and she's got, like, this dead eye stare, this, like, 1,000-yard stare that just says she's not thinking of anything at the moment. She's just fucking daydreaming. You know, she just doesn't. I don't know. And of course, she's always, like, very quiet, like, very low low toned. You know, she's like just like a little bit of a whisper. You know, I don't know. Some people might like her. I don't, and I don't like the actress at all. So you know, that's just my take on it. Plus, race swapping. I hate that shit. It's stupid because then it just means that's not the character then. For Jeffrey Wright as Jim Gordon, as I said, I'm not a fan of the race swapping. I think it's stupid. But Jeffrey Wright did a good performance. You know, for what he was given. He puts up a believable like cop. You know, as a cop in a town full of dirty cops, and he's just trying to do his best. You know, because it's in Gotham, and we're at this point. It's like good cops are like a rare breed. You know. And he's like trying to do this heavy balancing of like maintaining like that blue code of honor and, you know, the friendship with Batman because, you know, at this stage Batman is very, we're still on uneven grounds with the police, you know, and it can come to this, and like Gordon is like his one best friend in this, you know, and he's the kind of like the shield that keeps things going, you know, and they have a good, like, a working relationship with each other, and I like the scenes where they're both, like, investigating various scenes, and interacting, you know, they're talking, you know, like, I could believe that their friendship, I liked that, and I wanted to see more of that kind of stuff, you know, I like to see Gordon and Batman kind of, like, talking with each other and investigating crime scenes, you know, and discussing stuff, because it's like, oh, I like stuff like that. It's very nice. Paul Dano's Riddler, I think he did an excellent job. I thought he was ideal for the casting. Now, obviously, this Riddler is a bit different. They've taken some heavy inspirations from Zodiac and Seven, and, like, Riddler is akin to a serial killer with riddles and stuff. I'd say it's close enough in a accurateness. The suit is not really what I would have went with. Turns out that the gear that he's got is like store-bought, like winter army surplus gear and whatnot. And you know, he's like a very deranged, sick individual who's got a clear motivation. Like they explain in the movie, like this event that's occurred in his life and has shaped his, you know, perspective and how he goes about his work on the targets he picks and all this. And as the story goes on and when he's beaten, you know, you learn more of this information. I think it's very accurate to like the core idea of Riddler. Like, he is the intellect to Batman. He's not a brawler. You know, he's a thinker type. You know, he knows how to, like, think and plan ahead. You know, the 4D chess moves and all this stuff. So I think he does real well at portraying that. You know, it's very interesting, and I like that performance. Colin Farrell as the Penguin, amazing work. I mean, I'm shocked. Like, I fell for the makeup, because it's like that makeup's real good at like you can only tell that's Colin Farrell from the voice, you know, and he does a good job at performing. Like, Penguin's like kind of more like, he's kind of like a Sopranos mob boss, especially when he's like interacting with like Batman. Is like, whoa, it's like, whoa, take it there, easy, sweetheart. You know, he's got this kind of like mobster Jersey accent. It's like, hey, I'm walking here, fucker. It's like, yeah, fucking mook. You know, shit like that. You know, and he does a good job at, like, because at this stage of his life, like, he's high up in the criminal underworld, but he's, like, not at the top level as he is in the comics. You know, he's, like, kind of in the middle, you know, and he does, like, he has, like, a good part to play, and they leave out stuff that can, you know, go out and continue on with his stuff. So, like, I would love to see more of that. And, overall, I would say, as for the story, like, I'd say it's suitable. Like, so the character stuff, I'd say, like, obviously Selena Kyle, I just did not give a fuck about at all. You know, and the other characters, I think they've done just fine with what they were given, and I'd like to see more of them. The music is very nice. It's like this. It seems like it just keeps. It almost like only barely uses like a few songs. Like you have the Nirvana song, and then you have the Batman theme, which has like that just spaced out in throughout the whole movie, and it's like, oh, that's good shit. And another thing I wanted to bring up is like Gotham City. This is a version of Gotham I like. I love it. Like Gotham is fucking wet. It is, if it ain't fucking pouring ass rain, it is soaked to the bone. It is just wet and cold and miserable. Like I love it. Like Batman in the rain is my shit. Like fuck yes. I love it, especially when it makes fight scenes better, it makes car chases better, especially the Batmobile. Oh, the Batmobile. Oh, when the Batmobile was revealed, it's revealed like a horror movie monster. It's just like, oh, when the engines start going, it's just like, yeah, yeah. And Matt Reeves proved you could do a car chase with Batman that doesn't involve killing people. You know? And that's another thing. I like that this Batman does not kill people. Thank you. Thank you. Now, in short, some of the negatives. Catwoman, didn't like her at all. It is 3 hours long. I think there are some bits that could be trimmed down to maybe you could kind of cut it out to maybe about 2.5 hours, maybe. And I think that's about it for the most part. I would say maybe like just it's just a lot to hope for, maybe. You know, I would say if you're interested and if you could stomach 3 hours, I'd say give it a watch. But that's just my 2 cents on the matter. So what have you guys thoughts on the Batman? Have you seen it? If you have, let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you have any recommendations of what I should review in the superhero genre, please recommend it down in the comments below. I actually read comments when they show up. Now, I will see you all next time on the next episode of Buggy Reviews. Goodbye.
I've had enough of this.